Welcome back to the Blissful Badger, and happy 100th video. To celebrate, I decided I would try something new. I have yet to see anyone do water marbling for Warhammer models. In particular, I wanted to work on basing. So in a previous video, I talked about how I wanted to do something interesting for my Disciples of Tzeentch army, as far as basing went. Tzeentch is the god of change, and what better way to show change than a chaos warp of mixing colors? I wanted the effect of chaos warping around all of my models for the army. And so I decided a good way to do that would be through water marbling. So, with a little help from my sister, I decided on a nice day it would be a good idea to try out water marbling. In preparation, I primed 176 bases white. I wanted to make sure that any colors that I put in the water marbling bucket would show up well. I didn't want to do a black base because that might not have as vibrant color to them. So it was a nice day, and my sister was having a great time helping out. We went through a bunch of her old nail polish and some of the spray cans that I had sitting around, and we tried out a few different methods and a few different patterns to create cool basing patterns. Some worked better than others. A few key things that we found over the course of an hour and a half of water marbling. Having the water be the right temperature, slightly warmer than room temperature, is helpful. Some of the nail polish didn't want to float very well, but a light coat of spray paint going down first helped add to the water tension, and even when the nail polish went down into the water, it would come back up slightly better than without that layer of spray paint. We could have also added a little bit of cornstarch to thicken the water, I think, based on some of the preliminary videos that I watched for how to water marble. That seemed to work. I particularly liked the way that the orange showed up in one of the batches, and another had an amazing combination of blues and purples. We also used some of the sparkle nail polish, and it added just a little of a pop that made it stand out from the rest. Each batch created a unique pattern and selection of colors, and I knew after I made all of these, I would put them in a baggie and randomly pull for each model to add to the variety. After an hour and a half of water dipping the bases for the cool marble effect, we let them dry for several hours. The next day, I had to pry some of these models off of the cardboard that they were sitting on. Next time, I'll make sure to put down some parchment paper or wax paper so that they come cleanly off of the cardboard. After that, I had to go through with my knife and clean up the base rim edges. Since they had been stuck to the cardboard, they weren't perfectly clean, and I wanted them to lay flat when they're on the board. Once that was done, I brought them back out for 2 coats of clear coat. I wanted to make sure that the nail polish would be protected underneath when I put the models on there. I followed that up with gluing the models that I had onto the bases. And wouldn't you know it, I happen to have 100 Disciples of Tzeentch already painted and ready to be glued to these bases. And there you have it, the first 100 models of my Disciples of Tzeentch army on their new water-marbled basing. To go with this, I have enough bases for the rest of my army as soon as I get them painted. I am well on my way to 1,000 points of Disciples of Tzeentch, fully painted and based. I hope you enjoyed this 100th video, and I can't wait to make the next 100. And because I could, I ended the dipping with a Space Marine. Subscribe if you haven't, so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.